The New York Jets have done it again, found another way to lose a football game, 28-27 this time at home to the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson, not a rookie, but kind of technically in terms of number of games he's played, he's got rookie experience in the league. I'm Glenn Naughton with Jet Nation Radio and JetNation.com. Be sure to log into JetNation.com where you can register and become a part of what is the most active Jets message board on the web. 28-27 loss. Jets come out completely flat early on, doing nothing on offense. Same old. What we've seen from this team time and again. I've said it. Everyone knows. The players have said it. Davante Adams has said it a couple of times. Bill Cowher said it during halftime. This team comes out flat, uninspired, just can't move the football, can't do anything meaningful. And it's just it is what it is with this team. I mean, this is what it's been for many years now, and we thought it was going to be different. We thought if you added Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams and you had a young, healthy Breece Hall and all this, and everybody be great, but they didn't. They're not good. They're not a good football team. They have good players, but they're not a good football team. Scott says he's numb, doesn't care about the losses. I think we all feel that way. I feel that way. I'm over it. Justin Jett says Rodgers is washed. He certainly looked like it early on. Threw for what? I think he had the Jets didn't get their first down until about a minute and 45 remaining in the first half. And then they got another one. They had 2 first downs in a row, which was wild. And then Rodgers dumped off just a little quick dump off over the middle to Breece Hall, and Breece Hall turned and took it 29 yards for a touchdown. Gave the Jets some life. And then they started rolling on offense. Let's give credit where it's due and be honest. The offense did play well in the second half. Again, Aaron Rodgers finishes 22 of 29 for 184. I mean, he threw for about 30, 40 yards in the first half. So to finish at 184, he had a strong second half. Breece ran 16 times for 78 yards, 4.9 a carry. He also had a touchdown. Davante had 6 for 72. Breece had 7 for 43. As I mentioned, the touchdown. Kenny Yeboah, congrats to him. First career touchdown for Yeboah. Wish it could have resulted in a win. The defense, listen, today, what was the problem today? It was the secondary. Sauce Gardner beat once or twice. There was a play late in the game with Alec Pierce. It did look like Sauce was motioning to Jalen Mills. I mean, it looked like he was passing Pierce off as he turned, and Pierce runs a deep route. And then all of a sudden, he's not being covered at all. And Jalen Mills shows up late, and you can see Sauce pointing. And the broadcast said it. The broadcast went over the replay and said, based on the way the Jets were aligned, Jalen Mills has to be there sooner. So it sounds like that was a Jalen Mills busted play. But twice the Jets took the lead. Aaron Rodgers led them down the field, took the lead late in the game, and both times the Jets defense, the secondary, just fell apart. And they allowed Anthony Richardson to play like an all-world quarterback. He finishes 20 of 30 for 272 and a touchdown. Funny enough, the Jets shut down the run. I mean, this team that has struggled so much against the run, you're facing a team with a quarterback who can run, and Anthony Richardson, a running back, one of the best running backs in the NFL, and Jonathan Taylor. They hold Taylor to 57 yards on 24 carries. Richardson runs it 10 times for 32, but the killer is that Richardson has 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen's also huge in this game, scored a touchdown, had a big diving play early on. Really good job by their receivers. Whereas with the Jets, even though we can sit here and give Aaron Rodgers, a little bit of credit for playing better in the second half, he just doesn't throw the ball down the field anymore. It's just not part of his arsenal. If you're a defense and you're playing the Jets, you've only got to defend the short part of the field, the short intermediate part of the field. Took one deep shot early on the first drive and overthrew him. Just overthrew Garrett Wilson, just like he overthrew Davante Adams a couple weeks ago. This seems like a thing with the Jets. We'll come out, we'll run the ball once or twice, we'll take a deep shot, it'll be an overthrow, and that'll be the last of it. So that's what happened again today. Rodgers, no deep ball to speak of. The running game was decent. The penalties only had a couple. Olu had a big one. Olu had a penalty that wiped out a 13-yard run. Olu also allowed a sack on a ball. I mean, honestly, it was a tough one because I felt like if Rodgers had gotten the ball out quickly, Breece Hall was right there over the middle for a short completion, but he held on to it, and Olu gave up the sack. So not a great day for him. But the Jets on the ground, I felt like they should have run it a little bit more than they did because it was working. So why not stick with it? But they threw the hell out of the ball. Just look, 28-27 loss. They're 3-8. For a minute, it looked like they might pull it off. But, I had a couple people messaging me, oh my God, they're going to win this one. They got this under control. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't think they got this one. And then late when they took the lead, I thought, oh, maybe they would. No, they didn't. They had nothing under control. Jeff Ulbrich says bye week, so they're gonna if anyone's concerned, don't worry about it. They're gonna do a deep dive now. Now that they have the bye week, they're gonna really look close at why they stink and get this thing fixed and turned around. He didn't say that. And look, I kind of feel bad for the guy, thrown into the fire without really knowing he was going to be the head coach, and he's the head coach for a team that's not very good. And again, the coaching has a big part to do with it. I tweeted out a couple times, and I had a thread on the message boards on Jet Nation, like, why is Michael Clemens seeing so much playing time? At this point, I'd let Eric Watts get some of his reps. I'd let, McGregor wasn't active, but I'd have him active and give him some of those reps. So it was bad. And yeah, Wild Wave says Aaron sucks. He does. Look, I'm saying he played better in the second half, but I'm also saying deep ball not part of his game anymore. We're seeing too many plays where whether it's me as an observer, as a fan watching, or a broadcaster, or a writer tweeting out during the game, miscommunication, late on a throw, balls behind the receiver wasn't looking when the ball was coming. I get that it's Aaron's first year, but you know what? He had training camp last year. He had the entire offseason program, which he took part in. He had the entire preseason. And he's still not on the same page with these guys. I mean, look, I get that. All right, fine, it's a complex offense, but are you overcomplicating it? As I said in the pregame, we're not even pregame. I tweeted out before the game how frustrating it was that I go out with the family, come home to pop football on. I put on ESPN or whatever it was. Well, whatever the hell YouTube feeds me. I think it was ESPN, their pregame show. I turn it on. First thing they're talking about, moonball touchdown passes, moonball passes from quarterbacks. The first example they show, oh, we're going to show you Mike Williams last week against, and when he scored the game winner for Pittsburgh. I'm like, 9 games with the Jets, nothing. 5 minutes with the Steelers, game-winning touchdown. And look, I get it. It's only one play, but you couldn't get that out of him in 8 games, 9 games. Absolutely ridiculous. So it is what it is. I gotta. Sorry about that. Bear with me on that. Just a super, super frustrating time for a Jets fan, especially with this news that now we're hearing Aaron Rodgers wants to return. Aaron Rodgers is going to be back. Do you want him back? Seriously, do you want Aaron Rodgers back next year? We can talk about how he's still better than what anything the Jets have had in a long time, but he's not that good. He can't throw a deep ball. You got him Devontae Adams, and even Devontae. There's times with Devontae Adams, you see him and they say it on the broadcast. The frustration of he's getting open over the middle and Aaron's not hitting him. It's ridiculous. It's a joke. Let's see what we got here in the chat. Scott, how are we making the playoffs? Not happening. I said before Halloween they were out of this thing. 3-6 or whatever it was. I said the season was over. They deserve to lose. Yeah, I don't disagree at all. They definitely came out flat. You can't be that flat for that long and give up the lead that many times. You absolutely deserve to lose a football game. Defense has gotten worse since Saleh was fired. They have, but I don't think it's mattered. I think they would have been just as bad. I think the record would be the same. I don't think there'd be any difference here. So it's really 6-1, half dozen of the other. It's not like, the season was lost because they fired Saleh. Rob says this is awful. As we all dismantle the organization, sell it off, relocate for 40 years, and ready to write them off. On a positive note, congrats to player of the game, Anders Carlson. Anders Carlson, 58-yard field goal. Welcome to the Jets, Anders. And then he hit a 35-yarder, I think it was, later on. Complex offense, constant dumb passes and simple runs. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, Martin, there's nothing to defend. He's just, like I said, it's how long's he been here now? He's been here long enough to not be in a situation where every game we're seeing miscommunication with the receivers. It's season's over. Like I said, it was over before October. Before October was over, but I know there were still fans who were like, "Oh, there's a chance. There's look at the math." And it's come on, man. This thing's done. It was done long ago. Best weekly comedy on TV in decades. Tough to argue. Tough to argue. Seinfeld, The Office. I was never a big Office guy, which is funny. I think Aaron Rodgers is a huge Office guy. English or American version. Never got it. Never got it. Cheers. I started rewatching Cheers recently. Man, classic comedy. Good stuff. Let's see. Justin, I don't like any of the QBs in the draft. Just play Tyrod and Travis next year. Win 2 or 3 games. Hope for the best in 2026. Well, it depends. I like Cam Ward a lot. Shedeur Sanders has been a better player than I anticipated. Not so much a tougher player. I didn't think he was going to get beat up as bad as he has this year. I figured Colorado would fix some of their O-line issues after last year. They didn't. And Shedeur, man, he keeps coming at you. Like, as a player, I like him, but as a tandem with his dad, no, I don't want Prime. I mean, there's already. I mean, I could be mistaken, but I heard someone say the other day, Prime's already come out and said, I'm going to contact teams and let them know, that whether or not we'll come play for you. And honestly, I wouldn't have as much of a problem with that if I didn't think he's still going to linger after the fact. I don't think it's going to be a thing where he's like, oh, Jets, don't draft my guy. Or any team. Like, whoever, don't draft my guy. I think whoever does draft him, he's going to be, like, prominent there, too. Commenting publicly. And I don't think you're going to want the heat of having a high-profile Hall of Fame player, coach / dad, who's going to be vocal anytime something doesn't go his way. And I get like, if it was just Shedeur, if you could guarantee me Prime would do his thing at Colorado or wherever, and Shedeur could do his thing with the Jets, I would want Shedeur. But I don't think I want Cam Ward. Cam Ward's my guy. I want a mid-late round guy too. Take 2 quarterbacks, damn it. Take Jalen Daniels out of Kansas. You could probably get him on day 3 because he has had some injury issues, but really good arm, mobile quarterback, protects the football. It's funny. It's kind of, I don't know, a bias of sorts because I started watching him and Cam Ward around the same time a few years ago and liked both of them a lot. And now Cam has sort of risen to where he'll be a first rounder. Jalen, because of the injuries, hasn't. So I'm like, yeah, take those guys. Big fan. Anyway, back to the Jets being trash as they are right now. Rob says, at least we got a new Yellowstone tonight. You know what? I've watched about 10 minutes of the first episode of Yellowstone and for whatever reason didn't. I plan on watching it, but I've seen about 10 minutes of Yellowstone. Eth Red says Jordan Travis could be massive for us next season. He could. I do like Jordan Travis, but he is nowhere near anything that you would say, well, we've got Jordan Travis, so don't take a quarterback. No, I would take a quarterback. I would take 2 quarterbacks. Even Tyrod, like, nice backup, but where are you going with him? I would let him walk in the offseason if he wants to. But if he wants to come in and compete for a job, I'd be fine with that too. I see people saying bench Rodgers and play Tyrod. Okay. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter at this point, but it's not like I'd feel a lot better if you were saying bench Aaron and play this rookie who we need to get a look at, or a young guy who we're trying to develop. I'd be like, yeah, let's do that. That makes sense. Like, the season's over, develop the kids. But the season's over, go with the other 34-year-old, 35, however old Tyrod Taylor is at this point. Okay, I guess. I mean, I'll tell you this, I bet Tyrod Taylor still throws a deep ball. Whereas Aaron Rodgers, it's non-existent. It's not part of his arsenal. Draft stock continues to rise. Yeah, draft position. I don't know what it is now, and they'll be in a glut between them and a few other teams right now for a little while. But it is what it is, folks. Jets, listen, the credit, it's even hard to give credit because you blew the lead. There was a point in the middle of the game where the Jets defense was getting some stops, even though they were down, when they were down 13-0 or whatever it was, when they were down big. And I was convinced that it was going to be a lopsided loss. The defense was still playing hard and they started getting stops, and that allowed the offense to get back in it. So I was like, hey, look, the defense playing with some heart. They're making some plays. Like I said, they shut down the run, but they couldn't do anything against the pass. So there's not really a whole lot to cover. Another loss, you're 3-8. Season's, like I said, season was already over. Rodgers, slow start, can't throw deep. Breece Hall is still very talented. Garrett Wilson may as well not have even played tonight. Jeremy Ruckert. I mean, the tight ends are, even with the Yeboah touchdown, the tight ends are invisible. Frustrating season, folks. Not a whole lot to go over this evening. Maybe more tomorrow after a rewatch or something. But we'll wrap this one up. Jets lose 28-27. Offense, first time this year they scored 25 points. How ridiculous is that? They said during the broadcast, this is the first time in team history the Jets went 10 games without the offense putting up 25 points. And then they proceed to put up 27 and gave up 28. So it sucks. They suck. But we move forward, and hopefully we get to enjoy the bye week, folks. Jets don't play Sunday. Enjoy it. Do something nice, fun, stress-free, and you don't have to sit and watch the Jets lose another football game. Have a good one, Jets fans.